Let's take a look at the Survival Fishing Kit card. Like all the Grimm cards, this Survival Fishing Kit card is small enough to fit in the credit card slot of your wallet. This has a white backer on it. This white backer is removable, and the backside is permanently adhesive, so you can stick this right to the side of a flat object and it's always going to be there with you. All the tools come out of the cards, and the first time you take a tool out, there's a metal tab holding it in, and you just twist through that metal tab. Now all of the tools are going to be usable, and you can reattach them to the card using the tool retention system. You just line it up, give it a press, and it's back on the card until you need it next time. The Survival Fishing Kit card features 30 hooks. We've got a pretty good variety of hooks here. We have multiple position jig head hooks. We've got some smaller hooks, medium-sized hooks, as well as some double hooks. So we have 8 of these jig head hooks, and the jig head hook is probably a medium-sized hook. It's kind of a longer shank, so that's going to work well with fish with teeth in it. And we've got a couple different hole options here. So a couple different line options is going to let us present this hook and this bait at different angles. So we could be jigging this, we can be trolling it, we could be doing a straight down vertical jig. This is also going to give a little bit more weight to the hook, which is going to help us cast it. So if I was making any type of improvised lure, paracord lure, maybe I was to find some feathers on the ground, I had some thread with me, or I was pulling apart some fabric, this would be my #1 choice for making a lure in the field. So this is the smallest hook on the card, and I'm a small hook guy personally, and there are 8 of these. And even though the hook itself is small, you see it's still got a larger than normal eye on it. And I love this about the Grimm hooks. This allows you to use non-standard fishing lines. So most of the time you might have this card and you're fishing with paracord, you're fishing with bank line, you're fishing with natural fibers. And my eyes are not the best anymore anyway. So I personally really appreciate having an oversized eye on here. You can see the barb on this hook as well. That's a great sized barb. That is going to ensure that even though this is a small hook, if we happen to catch a larger fish, we're going to have no problem with this hook slipping out of its mouth. So here's the medium hook, and there are 10 of these, so the bulk of the card is featuring these medium-sized hooks. And that's the hook gap on this is not overly large. You're still going to be able to get into small panfish with this with no problem. And this does have a longer shank, so if you were in an area where the fish had teeth, your improvised line would still be okay. And it features that same great barb and that same great oversized non-standard fishing line eye. So here's a good look at that double hook, and we have 4 of these. And if you look at the structure of the hook, you see how well supported it is around the eye, and we have that same oversized eye, so it's going to work great with any non-standard cord. Now the jig head, that would be my #1 style if I was making a bucktail jig or using paracord to improvise a jig. If I was making a legitimate lure, if I was carving a lure, this is what I would use. If I had any type of skirting material, maybe I would cut up a slingshot band and was using the rubber off of that to make something similar to a frog, this is what I would use. If I was running limb lines or jug sets or any type of trot line, this is absolutely what I would use. So by utilizing these hooks on limb lines or trot line or jug sets, that's a great way to target catfish and turtles and all kinds of fish that you would have a harder time catching on a hand line. So this is a proven technique, and that's a great hook to use for such an instance. So the Survival Fishing Kit card is a great way to carry a broad selection of hooks with you at all times. In my area, fishing is always going to be my #1 choice to get a meal out of the wilderness. Unless I'm going to an absolute desert, I'm probably going to have hooks with me. And this Survival Fishing card, I have had it through TSA. They don't even give it a second look. When I get where I'm going, my hooks are all untangled and ready to use.